Good afternoon to everybody who've joined us for this webinar. Thank you all for making time to join our sessions to learn more about our program, the Resilient Agriculture Innovation for Nature. This is going to be a 1-hour webinar whereby you get to hear more about the Global Resilience Partnership, but also you get to hear more about the Resilience Agriculture Innovation for Nature, RAIN, specifically the second phase, which is now open for call for proposals. We'll get to hear more about the special component of this window, which is youth and women. But also we'll get to hear more about some experiences of from our guest speakers, which are RAIN winners for the first round. And then we'll be able to take your questions after that. So without further ado, I would like to start with a bit of introduction of the speakers today. My name is Gerald David, and I'm the Challenge Fund Manager with Global Resilience Partnership based out in East Africa. And I'll be giving you an overview of the RAIN program, but also be moderating these sessions going forward. I'll also introduce my colleague. I'd like to call my colleague Jesper to introduce himself.
Thank you, Gerald. Pleasure to meet you all. Jesper Hornberg, I'm the Head of Innovation and Scaling at the Global Resilience Partnership. And I've been based in East Africa, in Nairobi, for many years. Currently, I'm in a pretty cold Sweden, and I look forward to coming back down shortly to the warmth. Thanks, Gerald.
Thank you, Jesper. I'll invite now Nancy to introduce herself.
Hi, Gerald, and hi, everyone. This is Nancy Kadenyi, joining from Nairobi. I come from Meta, Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And let me now have Hamisi introduce himself.
Well, thank you so much, Gerald. Hamisi Saidi Hincha from Food Security for Peace and Nutrition Africa. Grateful to be on this very important webinar, and I'm looking forward to a fruit discussion. Thank you, and over to you, Gerald.
Thank you, Hamis. As just have mentioned, we'll now go straight to our first speaker, who will be Jesper, and will be giving us an overview of the GGRP and its work. And as I've mentioned, this is the plan for today's program. So Jesper, over to you, and please let me know when to click the slides. I'll be happy to.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure. To talk to you. I have the pretty challenging task of trying to give you an overview of the Global Resilience Partnership. And I can do that. That's not challenging, but I don't want to take too much time because I want you guys to be able to ask questions about RAIN and have Gerald explain, and also Hamisi and Nancy to tell you a bit about their experiences from the first round of RAIN that we had. But the Global Resilience Partnership, we've been around since for about 10 years. We're going to celebrate 10 years later this year. We are advancing resilience, and we do that through innovation, knowledge, and policy. And what you see here, what we're talking about today, is the innovation aspect. But learning and knowledge, very important, and policy, very important as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the areas of work, and Gerald, you can just click through these to the last one of the GRP areas of work. We identify, support, and scale innovation on the ground. That's you guys. We generate knowledge. We are hosted at the Stockholm Resilience Center, so there's knowledge from there. But if not more important, we generate knowledge from what you guys are doing on the ground, and then we convene. We have a big policy component of our work. For example, we are present at COP, where we try to give you guys a platform, projects on the ground, a platform. And when we work with you, we engage you as much as we can in all our areas of work. Next slide, please. We're a partnership. You see some of our partners here. I think it might have grown a little bit since we made this slide before Christmas. But this is critical. We are a partnership. We have private sector partners, big ones, small ones. We have several of our grantees and alumni as members. And we want to keep on engaging. It's very much about building a community of practice, creating an ecosystem where the projects we work with, initiatives we work with, can get to know each other, share information, get to know other partners in our network, and spread that. Next slide, please. We think there's value for our partners, and I mean the partners are pretty keen on being partners with us. It's access to expertise and resilience. It's prove innovation and incubation. We have that. We've done that for 9.5 years. It's to connect and create credibility for the grassroots organization at a higher level. To me, the grassroots organizations are where the real information is, and it's critical that we, in respect of that and in the name of equity and equality, can push that up the information value chain and have that influence what future initiatives can be done. And a challenge, a call for proposals like this is a key element of making sure that happens. We have a global standing and we can influence resilience and development policy. I mean, our presence at COP bears witness of that. But it's not just COP we attend. We work with a lot of partners on thought leadership, the research we're doing, the studies we commission, and the learning partners that we have, both when it comes to resilience and adaptation and climate, but also in the management of projects. So we work with business schools to come up with research around value chains, market systems, and so on. We also think that there is real power in partnership. We are much stronger together than we are on our own, and we need to share and work together to solve the world's urgent problems. Next slide, please. If you click to the end of this, Gerald, it's just the animation is like this. There's a bit, the numbers here are actually a little bit higher, but because we're quite keen to get stuff right, we're verifying all of those things. But you see that we were founded in 2014. We started working a little bit before then, which is why I say 9.5 years. But we have worked with more than 1,000 organizations. We have a lot of partners. We have partners that are engaging, and we on a regular basis update and take in new partners. We have a lot of social media followers. We provided training to more than 60,000 people. And when I say training to 60,000 people, we're talking people in Africa, Asia, and our sort of areas, our geography where we work. So we're not talking about training in Sweden, if I can take the country I'm in at the moment. Early warning systems is one of the innovations. So a lot of people are taking benefit from early warning systems that we have helped accelerate, incubate, and then accelerate. More than 7 million people supported. We've seen more than 35 million leveraged. The number is probably closer to 50, but again, in the name of being completely sure about the numbers we're talking about, 35 still stands here. But it's a lot of money leveraged into building resilience. And again, we're talking about our geographies. So we're talking Africa, Asia, Latin America. Thank you. I want to give you an overview of current initiatives, and I'm not going to spend too much time on these. Some of it will be talked about later on, but in order to keep it relevant for you, just an overview so you know some of the things that GRP is involved in. We have a resilience hub. This is what we host at COP every year. Last year in Dubai, we had more than 80 events with our partners, ranging from US aid to actual projects on the ground. I'm happy to say that Hamisi, who you will hear from in a minute, he was part of one of those events, for example. We collect voices from the front line because we want to know what's happening at the very front line and we create blogs and videos and so on of that. There's a Resilience Knowledge Coalition, which other people on the call can talk much more about, Shuchi mainly. But it's about building on the knowledge that exists and making sure that it's available, it's up to date, it's relevant, it's available where it really matters. We have a south to south, difficult word for a Swede with a lisp. Resilience Academy, again, building more on knowledge management products and so on. Seeds of Resilience for Peace and Stability. One of my esteemed colleagues, Sibel Keres, is working on that. It's about finding the real seeds of resilience, specifically for peace and stability, which is an important aspect of how we see resilience. And then we have Innovative Finance for Resilience. That is a GEF, a Global Environment Facility funded project we're doing together with UNDP in Sudan and Uganda, looking at how can you make finance more available in vulnerable communities, and what is the impact on resilience, as in how can you use that to make for a more resilient community and neighboring communities. Lots of learning. This is an area where we're also doing a bit of research together with Yale School of Management, referencing what I said before. And then finally, we have the RAIN Challenge. And I think this is where I stop and hand over to you, Gerald. You have to correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right, Jesper. And thanks
you.
very much for that overview of the work of the GRP. I'm now gonna straight talk about the RAIN Challenge. But before I do that, if you have any question at the moment, please just refer that to the chat or Q&A on your Zoom. We have our team actually working on the background to collect the questions, and then we'll be able to respond to your questions once we complete this presentation. So just to give you a quick overview of the Resilience Innovation Challenge for Nature, this actually was started back in 2022 at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt during the COP27. The project is being supported or funded by two organizations, the Shockwave Foundation from the US, but also the Munich Re Foundation from Germany. And in this phase for the RAIN, we also have funds supported from CEDA for specific a component of the projects, which is youth and women. And then we'll have someone to talk about that in a little bit more after my presentation. So we started this call for proposal back in November 2022, and we were able to shortlist 18 projects from East Africa, which we worked with them for about 3 or 4 months and receiving a mentorship support. But also this project participated in the Leadership Academy, which also organized in October in Nairobi. And then after that, we ended up in selecting 9 winners, which some of you might have seen on our website. We have currently 9 winners that are ongoing in the second phase of the support from the program. And we are happy to have 2 of them actually in this call, and they'll be able to share the experience working with RAIN for the past year or so. The second phase of RAIN, which is now, I think the topic on this webinar, was launched last year during the COP28 in Dubai. And it's actually open for corporate proposals until the 30th of January this year. And then this is open for both for-profit and not-for-profit organizations in South Africa, but also we have a special consideration for organizations that are directly working with youth and women as some of the projects that we're looking for. As I've said, this round of funding was actually launched last year. The aim of the RAIN program is to convert seed-level innovative agriculture ideas that are meeting resilience needs in East Africa, but also that are nature positive. And be able to scale them to sustainable business ideas and projects for the interest of the private investors, but also funders. So one of the objectives of RAIN is actually to actually unearth these innovations in East Africa, work with them, and then scale them to have that sustainable projects and business ideas. So as I've said, we are looking for agricultural initiative and provide customer support whereby we maximize each initiative potential for impact. So the challenge, as I've said, will align potential funders and this initiative to drive attention for urgent needs of agricultural transformation. And we'll talk about this also in the next few slides, how we will be able to link this. And as I've said, the challenge is open for East African countries. And as this program grows, we're looking into expanding to some more areas in the near future, and we'll be able to talk a little bit about that also. What is the eligibility criteria for this RAIN phase 2? It have to be a nature positive solutions that build resilience in the most vulnerable communities and places in East Africa. So we're looking at a whole set of areas within the ecosystem of the nature positive solutions in the agriculture in East Africa, and whether be for profit organization or not for profit organization across the public, private, civil society, and grassroots, as well as academia that are actually addressing or providing solutions for nature positive solutions in agriculture. Solutions has to be innovative and scalable initiative that change the risk perception of investing in agriculture. The RAIN aim is actually to change that and de-risk these initiatives so that they can be able to attract potential funders and investors across the agricultural value chains. Also, as I've said, the projects that we aim to fund has to be located in one of these countries. We mentioned East Africa, but we do have specific countries that are designated to provide application, which is Burundi, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. So the team has to have a proven conservation and business experience. There has to be a consideration on gender, equity, human rights, and the biodiversity consideration has to be included in the project that's applying for RAIN Challenge Phase 2. So the solution does not harm or has no negative impacts on communities or ecosystems, and it is designed to build resiliency. So the forced relocation, no negative impacts in that, and also, as I've said, it's designed to build the resilience the community that's in. And also GRP will notify about the results of the assessment phase. Non-selected ideas might still be considered for alternative promotion within GRP networks. As we've mentioned, we are working with over 68 partners that are addressing the resilience in different perspectives, and we also have a number of networks that actually can perhaps be viable for the solutions that does not meet or does not qualify to be funded by RAIN. As I've mentioned, here are a few objectives of the RAIN. So we need to surface those new innovative agriculture initiatives that has been assessed for both profitability and viability. We provide customized support to maximize each initiative potential for scalability and investability. And we do that through individual customized support through our mentorship process, whereby we do have 2 phases of mentorship, whereby the first shortlisted candidates will receive a full mentorship support, but also they will participate in the Leadership Academy, which is designed to provide more support to the people involved in the implementation of the projects. We do also have an alignment of partners and potential funders to these initiatives. And to that end, we do organize what we call the Investor Forum, whereby projects get a chance to actually pitch their ideas for the potential funders and investors during this program. And also we drive an attention to the urgent needs to transform the agricultural systems in South Africa to address the resilience issues that are pertinent in the smallholder and agricultural sectors within East Africa. So we also disseminate innovative resilience agriculture interventions to a wider group of partners. As my colleague Jasper mentioned, we do have a number of group of partners that we work with across Africa, but also across the world, who are interested also in working with some of the solutions that we unearth or we surface to the ecosystem, and also encourage further investment and development of initiative to build more resilient agricultural systems within East Africa. What will the Challenge Fund winners receive? So you'll be connected to investors, you'll get communication support and receive a tailored mentoring program from GRP-based mentors that have been working within East Africa in entrepreneurship ecosystem, both agriculture, and they have over 15 years of experience that are ready to provide individual customized support to each project that will be shortlisted but also selected as winner. You'll get a chance to participate in GRP Leadership Academy with a dedicated focus on in-person development and group dynamics. Since we focus on entrepreneurship, we have our best trainers available to provide this support. Jasper here included has been working in East Africa, I think, for over 20 years, and it will be available to provide support. And also other trainers that we do have at GRP will be available to provide that support. So you'll be invited to an investor forum and a pitching session, or in person or virtually, to pitch the ideas for potential investor and funders. And then finally, you receive cash prize after the initial mentorship period and the Leadership Academy. As I've mentioned, 9 of the 18 projects shortlisted last year went on to receive prizes, cash prizes, to implement their projects. And I've said we have 2 of them in this call that will be able to provide you with the experience of working with the Rain Challenge. How to apply? So we have application guidelines available in our website, and our team in the back room will be able to put that in the chat so that you can see where exactly you can apply, both for profits and non-for-profits. There's guidelines available there, but also there's a portal that will take you directly to our Google Form application site, whereby you're able to fill your application and then submit it. We are accepting applications until 30th January of this year. And after that, we'll be now moving to assessment, and we'll be expected to announce the shortlist sometimes by mid-March. And then start working with the shortlisted projects thereafter. And also you can find more information about the Rain Challenge and other work that GRP does through our website listed below, and again, can be provided in the chat there. But also you can actually reach myself if you have any question whatsoever. My email is available on the guidelines for applications, but also we have a dedicated email for Challenge Fund that will be assure you to give you a feedback within the shortest period possible on any question or clarification you might need to be able to apply for that. I'll stop there, and again, I'll be happy to invite my colleague Sushi. I'm not sure whether you're online, to give a quick overview of the focus, the project that we're looking in terms of the youth and women in East Africa. Sushi, not sure whether you're online, but please.
I am Gerald. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Great. So I don't necessarily have any slides to share, and I'm only going to take a few minutes to add on to what Gerald has already talked about and what you've heard from both Jesper and Gerald. So this year we have, in addition to the fact that we are focusing on agriculture, we are focusing a small part of the prizes for non-profits, specifically on agriculture initiatives by women and youth. So these are by and for women and youth. So these could include women-led initiatives, youth-led initiatives, which are working towards shifting how women and young people or young people can be part of agriculture. So unlocking issues such as tenure, issues such as lucrative agriculture for young people, issues such as power dynamics and agency within within agriculture and issues surrounding it are the kind of examples that we are looking at with respect to youth-led or women-led examples. We are keen to, as Gerald mentioned, we're keen to kind of get them on board, provide coaching, mentorship, leadership academy, and access to all the resources that Gerald has already mentioned. In addition to that, we look forward to providing an additional round of support for these initiatives, because we recognize that women can remain fairly invisible within the space of agriculture. It's only recently that we've shifted our vocabulary from a farmer typically being a male to a farmer being a male or a female. Similarly, young people are increasingly moving away from agriculture, so it's another space where there's need for focus, and we recognize that there's different shifts in the way young people want to view agriculture, and we want to bring that to the fore through these. We aspire to bring that to the fore with these prizes. We are looking at awarding up to 4 prizes. So we're keen for as many entries as possible, and we'd love to shortlist and speak to and prepare as many entries as possible that can then towards the end get the prizes as mentioned by Gerald. And I think I'll stop there, and I'll hand over back to Gerald to continue the conversation from here on. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushi, for that overview on the youth and women component of the challenge. Now, if you'd allow me, I would like to invite our colleague Nancy from Meta, who are the current RAIN Challenge Phase 1 grantee, one of the winner, to just provide an experience in terms of how they have been working with RAIN, what the implementation are, and what has they achieved so far. So Nancy, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Gerald, for giving me this opportunity to share more on how our journey under RAIN has been. And we are also very grateful for being one of the selected grantees for the award. I'm Nancy Kadenyi, Natural Resources Management Specialist at Meta, and I'm also the lead of the RAIN Challenge at the organization. Our challenge is more on a road run of harvesting for nature-based farming initiatives. And we shared this project depending on the kind of innovation that was really being looked for. If I could briefly share on how the application process was, honestly, I would say this is one of the easiest, simple application templates that also guides you clearly on what one needs to do on every specific question before you do your submission. Thereafter, we were selected, and thanks to JRP for giving us a wonderful mentor who walked us through this. I would say, indeed, it's a good way of also you revising your project before you venture into implementation. The mentorship program was really good for us. It took, the mentorship program was 1 year, whereby we were linked to a mentor who was able to guide us through different ways. I would give, for example, Moses really guided us well on how do we need to pitch our ideas to different innovators or to different funders who would like to fund our idea. This one area Faith and I really had a problem in when trying to prepare on how do we market, how do we share our ideas out. But through the help of our mentor, we were able to learn different tips on how do we prepare our pitch, how do we present, what do we need really to factor in. And he also guided us on how to have a successful pitch or a concept, giving us more ideas that guided us on revising the proposal that we had initially submitted before we ventured into the implementation. We found out that during this mentorship, it was very, it made also work easier before we got to the ground, because we had everything now in plan. We had clear understanding of our targets, what do we want to achieve, or who do we want to approach while in the field. Thereafter, after the 1 year of mentorship, it came the NICE 3 Leadership Academy, I would say. So I think this is one of the amazing opportunities that for real, we, the applicants, should not miss to apply and go through the Leadership Academy. Up to now, I still ask myself, who is a leader? Am I a leader? What are the different traits that a leader has or possesses? This Leadership Academy was able to unlock these different definitions and how do we perceive what a leader is. Look at the communications classes that we were taught on how do we interact with the different people, different personnel outside there when we are venturing into our business or our projects outside there. This one also really informed us to add a communication package to our project that was a little bit weak, but after the academy, we were able to improve on how are we going to clearly do our communication, leaving not behind the key lessons that we got under business development and entrepreneurship. This was also a very key takeaway from the Leadership Academy, whereby we were able to learn on how do we venture into entrepreneurship or what do we need to factor in when doing these kind of activities. And this one also really guided us well on structuring our proposals for project. Despite only we focusing on the RAIN project that we've received, these tips are helping us within the organization and how are we interacting with the people outside there. With this, I would really urge the applicants to really put forward the application, and once shortlisted, kindly make use of the mentor. Just as we say in schools, the teacher is there, but you are the one to find the teacher. So don't say once given this opportunity, make sure you maximize on the chances that you have with this mentor to really revise and venture very well into your projects or the proposals that you are trying to plan or the projects you are really planning to run outside here. Make use of the mentors very well, maximize on them, and embrace also on their availability. And also later on add on what you'll get out from the Leadership Academy. And eventually you'll be grateful and you'll be also be happy with your projects. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for that overview of the experience working with RAIN Challenge so far. I'll just like also to welcome our other colleague who is also a current grant of RAIN Challenge, Mr. Hamisi Hincha. Just also provide a quick experience in terms of how working with RAIN so far has been. Karibu sana, Hamisi.
All right. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It's good to get this privilege and honor to share our experience with you. It's a very great experience, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone. I'm Hamisi Saidi Hincha from Food Security for Peace and Nutrition Africa, and we are a proud winners of RAIN Challenge 2023. And our project or the initiative was carbon farming for environmental and agricultural sustainability and profitability. It's really interesting getting this opportunity since our first engagement with responding to the call. Actually, the template was very concise, very brief, and very easy to respond because actually in doing the responding to the call, if you have any question, you can click on the document and get the clarification on what you should fill in, and also the briefness of the template was amazing. Actually, you don't have to put a lot of information. It's just that you put what is very important. And at the end of the day, the magic happened and we were able to went through the next phase, of which immediately we started our coaching and mentorship session. The coaches and the mentors are amazing. I mean, the experience, it's unbelievable. I mean, these are you can't even tell such people with high profile getting down to the earth, giving, sharing insights on how we as the junior organizations can always grow and can always achieve our excellencies. That was interesting experience for us on behalf of my organization. And on top of it, the elephant in the room was actually the Leadership Academy. It was really, really interesting few days. Actually, Jesper would love that to take place again. I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, that was brilliant. Getting an opportunity to look at the leadership and what is in the leadership. Looking the communication skills, how to respond to internal and external communication. The entrepreneurship bit was amazing. I mean, the facilitators were very friendly, making sure that we get the lessons and they stay with us like forever. And on top of it, I think one of the major thing from the Leadership Academy is actually working in team. I know this is very important for individual and also for the organizations, having the ability to know how to work within the team and also outside the team was a marvelous experience. And then immediately after that, we were able to continue with the sessions with our brilliant coaches, whereby we were able to build again our proposals and resubmit. And yeah, we are grateful to get the honor of becoming amongst the few who were able to secure a slot to be the grantees for 2023-2024. And since from there, we were able to do the documentations, ready to implement the project. And everything was really participatory. And I mean, there's always an amazing thing that we have learned also in my organization. Is actually having an open door policy. Just as Gerard was able to share that he always responds on time. So if you have any question, if you need any further clarification, in a very short period of time, you can always get all those information. So I'm really encouraging everyone to coming into this pool, building the resilient journey through GRP. Everything, the system, the procedure are very friendly and are really, really helpful. And they make a real transformation both individually. I'm very proud as a contact person on behalf of my organization to get to learn and also learning some skills that are really benefiting my organization where I'm working with, together with my work colleagues. So I'm urging from this experience, and I'm really encouraging everyone to dive into this pool and let's get things done. Let's make sustainable, resilient into practice from our ideas. Thank you so much, and let me roll it over back to you, Gerald.
Many thanks, Hamishi, for such a wonderful experience working with Rain so far. We have almost 19 minutes to go, and I hope we'll be able to answer as much as questions you've posted on the Q&A, but also on the chats. But as I've mentioned again, our contact details are on the chat there. If we're not able to answer your question at this moment, please just go ahead and share your question over the email, and we'll be able to respond to your question as soon as possible. I'm just gonna go ahead and start reading the questions, and then we'll be able to respond to each of the questions as soon. Either myself or Jesper or any part of my team will be able to share that, and I'm just gonna start reading them. The call is open to INGO. However, is there a plan to cover costs related to indirect cost, overheads, and other admin costs? Again, just answering this, we are looking for mostly locally led solutions, and We're looking into for the local organizations that are working with the community at the local level to address the issue of the resilience, but also implementing the nature positive social solutions. And again, in terms of the covering of the cost, this is the budget whereby after a first phase of mentorship, you're gonna work with your mentor to revise the proposal, but also the budgets to actually be in line with what you're trying to implement. So the case of indirect costs, but also the admin costs are all being covered within your budget. And then the funding also will also address a part of that. Are you looking to adding funding to projects already under implementation or only looking to fund new ones? We are looking to fund an ongoing implementations as long as it does address the nature positive solutions in agriculture, whether it's ongoing, whether it's a new one. We'll be happy to receive your applications, and then we'll look into whether that actually fits within the scope of the challenge fund that we're working at the moment. A question from Lennox. Do you fund intermediaries such as accelerators and incubators? Jasper, would you mind responding to that?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no worries. I was standing on the spot, so I was ready. It's possible to do that, and in the past we've looked at that. If you are, I would say though, if the idea is to just do what we do, it might not carry so much merit. But if your idea is very specifically to find something, identify something in a particular part where you operate in your location, that does address all the criteria that Gerald outlined and that you'll find in the guidance notes as well, then it's not impossible. But it would be challenging to make it specific enough for us to understand what you're doing. Basically, if you're saying, I'm going to run a call for proposals and I'm looking for nature positive agriculture, that would probably not qualify as highly innovative by the review team.
Thank you, Jesper. Another question from Justice Wanjala. I'm an aquaculture fellow with African Food Fellowship. Is there room for supporting fisheries projects in vulnerable communities in Turkana and Baringo? This is the most hit communities by climate change. And also, I think this also go in line with this next question from Tim. Is this application open to aquaculture? Just if I put you on the spot for these two again.
Aquaculture could work. It depends on what aquaculture it is. If you're talking terrestrial aquaculture, as in lakes and so on, and streams and ponds and so on, it could work. I think it's important to stress the nature positive aspect of what it is that you're doing. I can see that happening with various fertilizer schemes and so on, but it depends. Is the question. I would really encourage you to look at the criteria that Gerald outlined, and you'll find them in the guidance notes as well. We're talking nature positive agriculture, we're talking gender, we're talking youth, we're talking something that is viable enough to work and be scalable. It doesn't have to be a ready concept. It requires us to see potential in it so that we can work with you. As Gerald outlined, we engage with some of you, and then we work with you to refine. You refine it, but we ask a lot of questions based on our experience. And at the end of that, you come out with hopefully something you believe in, something we believe in, and that can be scaled. But in order to qualify to that group, for that group that we engage with, we need the potential needs to be clear, and in order to be eligible, you also need to hit on those criteria.
Thanks, Jesper. And then we have a question from Tim. What is the ballpark value of the prize? And again, this question, it depends. So each project, it's been assessed on its merits in terms of scalability, viability, and potential for profitability. So the first few months whereby we engage in the mentorship, it's whereby we look into the project, its absorption capacity, but also the level of the level of the project at that moment where it is, and there's no definitive in terms of the minimum amount of funding that can be given, but also the maximum, not at the moment. But so this depends exactly on your projects, but also on the work that you're gonna have to do with your mentor in terms of refining the projects, but also looking into where that directly goes. So it will vary from project to project, but we do not have a specific amount of funding provided so far. We have a few minutes left, so I'm going to go quickly on the questions. We are implementing inclusive agroforest plan for livelihood improved in Eastern Uganda, targeting farming families alongside saving actions. Can we apply? Yes, I think you're welcome to apply, as long as your project meets the minimum criteria that we put it on the guidelines. It addresses the nature positive solutions, but also of course, it's in Eastern Uganda, so it's within the designated country that we're open for call for proposal. Thank you for the opportunity for discussion. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Hamisi and Nancy, what are the innovation factor in our projects outstanding? If I put you on spot, Hamisi, this is a question directed to one of the current grantee. What were the innovation factor in our projects outstanding? Maybe Nancy. Oh, I met you there. Then Nancy. Just quickly, a minute each, perhaps.
All right. The innovation factors for our project was actually scaling from what is happening in the Europe, but the difference is in Europe, their major focus was on the large scale farming. So they're doing carbon farming in the large scale farming practices. So we adopted the strategy and now have two major innovations. One, having it as a voluntary scheme. And then second, the solution now targets the small scale farmers with land acreage of 0.3 up to 5 acres, and they are majorly dealing with food crops. So that is actually and then now the measuring of the sequestration is with the assistance with the satellites and AI learning technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Hamisi. Nancy, quickly also.
Yeah, I think for us, our innovation was very simple. We were trying to see what can we use that is locally available to improve the agricultural production of the local farmers, for our case in Makueni County. And we realized the roads were our solution to this, whereby we are utilizing much of the runoff that you see from all the roads, bringing this water to the agricultural farms to boost agricultural activities for our farming. So for us, we looked at what can easily be done by people, what is already available there, and how can we really improve it and impact on it, considering and also all the factors of gender. And we also wanted something that has a triple win. In our case here, we are protecting our roads from, for example, having potholes or having difficulties in passing. We want this water to be used very well to the farmers. That's why we are draining it from the roads for a better gain in agricultural production. And once it increases, we are sure these communities are going to have high produce that they can be able to sell into their markets. Hence the triple win through our innovation of road runoff harvesting.
Thank you very much, Nancy, for that response. We have Mweze from Uganda. Congolese nation, but the organization is based in Uganda, are eligible to apply for this program? Yes, we're looking for organizations based in the country that we have designated. So as long as that project is in one of the countries that I have mentioned, you are eligible to apply regardless of your nationality. Also, Florence is allowed to send 2 submissions, and as an entrepreneur with for-profit company and as leader in a group of a person with disability. Yes, please, as long as those are 2 different applications, please, you're welcome to submit your applications. A question from Clinton. I think this also, it's similar to what Mweze asked there. Yes, as long as the project is based in one of the designated countries, yes, then you are allowed to actually apply, whether you're a Zimbabwean citizen residing in Rwanda. We'll be happy to receive your applications. Last question, again from Ongata. Must an organization partner with other organizations, say for women? It's not necessary, but if you have more than one consortium of organization applying for this, yes, you're welcome to do that. But a lead partner has to be identified in the application form, but also in the guidelines. It clearly states that you can apply as a consortium of organizations, and again, with that targeting for women, it's mostly welcome also, as we do have a special consideration for organizations that are delivering resilience in this special group of the community, youth and women, as my colleague Sushi just mentioned during her presentation. A question from Isaac. If my organization is the lead, do I need to have a support? Not necessarily. You can apply as the single organization for this project, but again, if you do have core any support organizations that are working with you, then you're welcome to apply in that. Also, you have to mention that in the application form, which clearly states that you have to state the lead organization, and then if you have any other support organization, they have to be mentioned there. Does RAIN support projects at an idea stage? Definitely, yes. The idea of the RAIN, as I've mentioned in the objective, is actually to surface these innovation ideas and actually to make them viable for potential funders and also investors. So yes, we are open to early stage ideas, innovation projects that are meeting the nature positive solutions, but also addressing the resilience issue within East Africa. Another question from David: at the point of application, do we have a budget cost attached? Not necessarily at the point of applications. The form is quite very clear. This comes once you've actually been assigned the mentor, and then you're gonna work with the mentor at your proposal to refine it, but also look into the budgets, and then it's going to be resubmitted after a period of first mentorship for consideration of funding. Derek Omond, the question: should the idea be currently in action, or can it be scaled one? I think we can look for both. We're able to fund both the idea that's in action at the moment, but also the one that can be scaled. If you look on the one of the objective of the RAIN challenge is actually to nurture these ideas, but also scale them. So one of the criteria we do have is the scalability of the business idea of the projects that have applied. So this is also one of the key criteria we're looking at. A question from Duge: is agriculture related to animals, insects, fish, or any plants and catchers? Yes, I think just responded to this question from the aquaculture question. And again, I'll say, as long as it does meet that minimum criteria, it's a nature positive, it does address the issue of resilience, then you're welcome to submit the application, and then we will review and get back to you whether that meets the RAIN challenge requirements. A question from Stephen. Is the funding kept or is open depending on innovation plan projects? Of course, I've responded to this question up there. It's not capped, and then each project is being reviewed accordingly. And the assessment actually will decide at the end in terms of how much funding the project gets due to those criteria that we've already mentioned there. Steve, no, Derek again, can sustainable poultry production in line with hydropan also work? Jasper, would you like to respond to that?
My dog just had a fit. Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Can sustainable poultry production in line with hydropan also work? Thank you.
I would, without going into the specifics, because there might be details I can't, I don't know about, but I would go back to, is it nature positive? That's criteria 1. Criteria 2, equally important. We're talking equity, equality, and youth and gender. So I would go back and see. It depends on how the project is done, what it's used for, in what way is it nature positive, and take it from there. Sorry to not be more specific, but it depends on how you do it very much.
Thank you. We have again a question from Janice. Then approximately when will the mentorship support begin for select organizations? So we've mentioned that we will be announcing the shortlisted candidates by mid-March, and then immediately they will start the first mentorship period. They will start the mentorship period, which will go on for at least 3 months. Again, within that period, there will be a leadership academy before the projects go back to refine their projects and then resubmit for consideration of funding. Dago, you mentioned that you are a researcher and a lecturer at the university in Ethiopia. You can also apply, and we're happy to say that one of the winners for the RAIN 2023 is actually an institute of technology that is based in Ethiopia. And we are happy to receive such innovative ideas in addressing the nature positive agriculture solutions in Africa. So please go ahead and apply. Charlotte, is there a maximum amount of partners for the consortium? Is the presence of diversified partner valued? Of course, yes. If it does add value to the solution, if it does actually improve and on how the innovative solution is actually delivered to the smallholder farmers, that I think that's also a good idea. So we do not have a maximum number of the partners within the consortium. That's not explicitly in our guidelines. So we welcome any sort of applications that have a consortium, and they'll be evaluated based on the criteria we've mentioned. We have. I'm gonna stop there, and we'll be happy to take your questions more on the email address that is being provided in the chat there from our colleague at the COM team. We actually on the clock of time, and we'll have to come to an end to this webinar. But again, we'll be happy to get your question and respond to your question as soon as we get your question. Jasper, one quick word for the potential applicants before we close the webinar.
Wow, what a rich set of questions. Do write to us if you are wondering. Gerald's email was there in the presentation, and I think in the chat as well. And you'll find it on the website, where you will also find my email. We are don't want to be too prescriptive in what you apply with, but what we're looking for is innovation in the space of nature positive agriculture. You keep the other criteria in mind as well. So for example, the question, should you focus on food security, nutrition, or biodiversity? Well, I would go back to the criteria. So nature positive, biodiversity maybe, equality and equity, food security, which could also be a gender thing. But that's up to you to bring that to the application that we can review. Happy to answer any questions you have. You have a bit more than a week left to, well, what do you, yeah, a bit more than a week left to apply. And a pleasure to meet all of you. Clearly, we have a bunch of very, very sharp people applying if the representation on this call and the questions are anything to go by. So, and thanks, Nancy and Hamisi, for your kind words. And if I can repeat one thing from the Leadership Academy, thanks for leaning in.